Hi there. Today I'd like to share an observation that I've made about my practice over the years that I thought might be helpful to share here. I think that a really common experience for piano beginners is to initially set out with really great aspirations in terms of what your piano practice might look like, but over time start to get discouraged, in part I think because of unrealistic expectations a person might have of their practice. So that's what I would like to talk about today. Here at my whiteboard, I have drawn a graph to show you what I'm trying to talk about here. Along the bottom, we have time. So this is indicating that the longer that we practice, the longer amount of time, we're going to be going this way. And then up here, this top part of the graph is going to represent the quality of our playing. So the higher up the graph we get, the better our playing becomes. Now, I think when we are starting out as piano players, we have this expectation, or at least this hope, that the more we practice, the more amount of time we practice, the better the quality of our playing will get. And so that we basically have kind of an upwards line like this, kind of a straight line. But I find that this is actually not the case. In my own practice, both today and over the years, I've noticed that the quality of practice ends up looking more like a bell curve, which I'll show you. So what I mean by this is that when you start to practice in a session, you will start to see improvements in your playing. But after a certain amount of time, you're going to start to not improve in your playing anymore. And the quality of your playing is actually going to go down again. At this point, this might be because you get bored. This might be because you get tired. You might develop pain in your muscles and it prevents you from being able to play as quickly or as smoothly as you were before. For whatever reason, the longer you practice, you can start to see improvements in your playing, but at a certain point, you'll start seeing a decrease in the quality of your playing. Now, I should mention here that I have deliberately not put any numbers on this time portion of my graph. There's no set amount of time that it could take you to get through this entire curve. This might be an hour of playing. This might be 20 minutes of playing. It will differ based on the person, and honestly, it will differ based on the day. So really, the point here is not to say that any amount of time is going to get you through this curve, but really just to point out that this curve exists. Why I think it's so important for us to talk about this bell-shaped curve in the quality of our practice is because I want to help set better, more realistic expectations for our practice. I don't think it's good for anybody to push so hard through their practice that they end up coming out on the other side of the bell curve. By the time you get to this quality of playing, you are right back to where you started. But you're tired, you're sore, and nobody remembers how well they've played once they've gotten to this point in their practice. It doesn't matter if you're just starting your piano journey or if you've been playing for many, many years. No one remembers how well they had played in their practice session if they end up on a bad note. No pun intended. Experiencing this bell curve at your piano can be really demotivating. And the way that some people try to beat this bell curve is by enforcing a really strict routine of how many minutes you're going to practice in every day, with the hope that you can extend this curve's amount of time so you can play longer and longer before you start hitting this curve, the downward curve. Now, this is possible to do. There is certainly something to be said about, building up endurance at your piano so that you are able to play for longer and longer amounts of time. But no one can ever really beat the curve. And that is something, that's really the point of what I wanted to emphasize today that this curve exists for everyone. And rather than trying to beat the curve, I would recommend trying to work with your curve. And this is how I would do that. What I do in my practice that I hope you will consider in your practice is to start being mindful of the quality of your own playing. So you start to notice when the quality of your playing goes up, but you also start to notice when the quality of your playing goes down. And rather than pushing through the bad quality of your playing, you stop yourself at about this level right here. Stopping yourself here is going to benefit you in a couple of ways. One benefit of stopping here is that it lets you end in a positive place. You get to end your practice remembering how well you played and how much improvement you made over that day, rather than feeling defeated and wondering if your practice was even worth it. It also helps you set different expectations for yourself so that the quality and improvement of your playing is the metric for your practice, not the number of minutes you sat down at your piano. Lastly, by ending here, it means that you are not going to be starting all the way back from the beginning the next time you sit down at your piano. Rather, you'll probably start somewhere in the middle, where the next time you sit down to play piano, your quality will start around here and then move up from there. So I hope this was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions about this by leaving me a comment, and I hope you have fun at your piano this week.